So Konechny, setting the stage, Konechny takes a penalty interference against Charlie McAvoy, who, by the way, Charlie McAvoy,
piece of crap.
Even that name, like it gives you that New England prep school prick kind of vibes. And with a punchable face.
Yeah, very much so. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Men in Orange and Black. It's episode number 6. And of course, with me, with a guy that is actually continually wearing black on this podcast, Mr. Steve Murray. I am always wearing an orange, it seems like. I'm Matt Craig. We're happy to have you guys with us. Steve, what's going on tonight, man? I understand you were at a game. Roller hockey game tonight, right? Yeah.
I'm fresh out of the shower, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to give the authentic post-game experience to our viewers.
No wonder it smells over here.
No, I took a shower. Okay. All right.
Nice.
That's the only way my wife will let me in bed tonight.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Did you come out? Shower.
Now, did you come up with a win tonight? Is my question.
We did.
Nice.
We did indeed.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I am unfortunately playing a little hurt in the voice. You might hear me kind of going a little nasally. Been struggling a little bit, but we're going to power through it tonight and hopefully get this episode out with a lot of fun, frivolity, and I can't think of another F.
A handful of snot.
And a handful of snot, right? I mean, why not?
It's the Christmas season. We're giving.
That's right. We're giving it. That's right. That's right. So, Steve, why don't we take a look at the wild card standings? And, we're
okie dokie.
Kind of looking on the outside, looking in, but we're tied with Ottawa for the last playoff spot. We're only 2 points back of the Tampa Bay Lightning for the top wild card. The Flyers this last couple of weeks have been kind of ho-hum. Haven't really done much. They've won some games. They've lost some games. We'll go through it, of course. But your initial temperature take, no pun intended, with me having a little bit of a fever. What's your temperature taking here of the Flyers so far?
You and your puns, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of went how we expected. They got 6 out of a possible 12 points. They lost to the teams we expected them to lose to. They beat the teams we expected them to beat. They had a clunker. They had a really good game in there. So they're treading water at the moment.
Yeah.
As you said, they're tied with I don't know where the Senators came from. Like when we did this show 2 weeks ago, they were like up second from the bottom or something close to that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
They must have had a superb win streak in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But the Rangers, I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
They are falling off a cliff. Yeah, for sure.
That is a mess.
Yeah.
A mess. But they did trade Captain Elbow, so
yeah,
we don't have to put up with him anymore.
Yeah.
In the Eastern Conference.
Senators, as of the time of this recording, in their last 10, 7-2-1.
Whew.
So that's the reason why they've rocketed up the standings. Rangers, though, in their last 10, 3-7.
And they got spanked this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Like a superb spanking.
So you're talking about a team that was Metro Division champs, I think, if I remember right, and then went all the way to the conference finals against Florida and lost in Game 6, I believe. So This has been a down year, a very surprising down year for the Rangers, and the fact that they had to essentially trade away Trouba, really to re-sign Shesterkin to a long-term deal, which they wanted to do because they knew that Shesterkin was going to be there for, I think he only had 1 year left on his current deal. So they've signed him. But now all of a sudden it's like they've been struggling to score goals and just have not played very good defense either. They're kind of running around all over the place, which isn't exactly ideal, that kind of a deal.
I mean, it's sort of reminiscent of the Devils last year where they kind of, you thought they were coming on and then they kind of fell out of nowhere. But the Devils, I feel like last year they were dealing with injuries. And so that was kind of a built-in excuse. I don't know what's going on with the Rangers.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And here we are. We're 4th place in the Metro Division standings right now. Now we're a way back of Carolina. We're 7 points back after the time of this recording here Monday night.
That's fine.
Not too bad, but again, where we're at, you'll take it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's a very competitive team, and we're going to go through our ups and downs over the last 2 weeks, of course, in period one, where we're going to review basically the Florida game dating back to, I believe it was December 5th, all the way through until the Minnesota at the Minnesota game on the 14th. So that 2-week period. And then, as we've done before, we'll do a studs and duds over those last 2 weeks, followed by an update on the draft pick watch, because it's very, very important that we keep these top picks ready to go, that kind of thing. So we're rooting for the Avs, rooting for the Oilers, all that kind of stuff. And as always, we'll then look ahead, and the next 2 weeks are going to be pretty much surrounded by a Christmas break, but we've got 5 games within those 14 days and some winnable games on the schedule, I think. 4 of the 5 are against teams right now that have losing records in the standings. So it's an opportunity for the Flyers to gain some ground and maybe distance themselves a little bit, hopefully, in the wild card. So, Steve, why don't we go ahead and review what happened against the Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champions, come up and they blitzed us out with a 2-0 lead. But, I mean, we fought back. Actually, they had a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, 3-0.
Forrester, though, and then Sealer kind of back-to-back within 2.5 minutes of each other, got us, right within striking distance. But the problem seemed to be the penalty kill. We gave up, how many goals was it? 4?
4 power play goals allowed.
Well, that was very unusual for a team that was top 3, as we were bragging all the way back in episode 5 2 weeks ago. We give up 4 power play goals, 3 in the second period alone against Florida. So that was not very good. But after a 4-2 Florida lead, Tippett makes it 4-3, and then another Tippett goal on a feed by Michkov makes it 4-4. Heading into this third period, thinking like, okay, we're competitive. We even take the lead on a Hathaway goal, 5-4, and then Florida decided to put the hammer down. 3 consecutive goals. Another power play goal was the game winner, essentially, by Sam Reinhart, who's having a tremendous year. Again. Just incredible. And, although we outshoot Florida 34-28, the problem was definitely the power play. 4 for 5 by Florida.
That'll hurt your percentage a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. If you kill off half of that, you got a 5-5 tie, or if you kill 3 of those, you got a win. So that sounds like there was a lot of undisciplined play from what I can gather.
Yeah, dumb penalties. The sad part is I think they did go stretches where they were outplaying the Panthers, which was a good sign.
Yeah.
This is what the Panthers have been doing this year. They just outscore teams because their defense and goaltending has not been up to snuff, really.
Yeah.
This was just them overpowering us. But, yeah, there was some undisciplined play. Farabee takes a penalty late in the third period. I mean, you understand it, and I think Torts was okay with it because he was sticking up for – I forgot who got hit.
Yeah.
But it was Sam Bennett. This is what Sam Bennett does.
Yeah.
He draws you into dumb penalties. You do dumb shit, and now you're killing penalties. And that, even if they don't score, it's taxing to have to kill a bunch of penalties. So
yeah, and you don't want to give the Florida Panthers 5 power play opportunities because they will cash in with the talent that they have. So yeah, clearly, that's what happened in that game. Unfortunately, credit the Flyers though to give at least a fighting chance.
Oh yeah,
and have at least an opportunity to at least think about maybe potentially getting another win against the Panthers. They've always seemed to play the Panthers really tough. Last year they did. This year they have.
Yeah.
They were very well against the Stanley Cup champs. We're not.
It's very encouraging. And it just goes to show you if you can keep your head and not give them so many power play chances, you've got a chance. So that's definitely a good sign. Headed in the right direction. Yeah. Just got to clean up some of the sloppiness.
Yeah. So speaking of an annoying team, we then head back up to Boston for their final meeting of the year and got out to a very, very good start. 2-0 after 1 period. Michkov scoring twice. Boston, though, getting one back. York getting one, making it 3-1 after 2. And you're thinking, like, okay. And then all of a sudden, Boston decides to pay off the refs a few couple dollars, maybe a 20 here and there. Takes a bunch of diving penalties. Makes us run around a lot in the third period playing on defense instead of really, having a balanced attack or whatnot. They tie the game late. Actually, it's just, late-ish, I guess you could say, 14:38. So that's like with about 5 minutes to go, 5.5 minutes left in the game, and then Zacha from Pasternak with the game winner in overtime. And boy, oh boy, we had a little bit of a dust up afterwards. By the way, you had not only Torts benching Travis Konechny, which people had a conniption fit over, which we will get to. Oh
God, yeah.
But then on top of that, Torts, believe it or not, folks, this is again why we're here. Torts was defending his boys, his Flyers, basically saying to the press, hey, look, I didn't teach these guys how to dive in training camp. If I would, it would have probably helped us out in this game. So that's a shot at Boston, clearly a shot at Boston, which I love.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is great. But Steve,
the one on Hathaway, when he barely touches it and the dude just loses an edge because he's a sucky skater.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ref was looking at there. I don't think that might have been the one where they scored to tie the game. I don't recall.
Yeah, and there was one I think that wasn't Sealer knocked down in the defensive zone, and the Flyers were like all up in arms thinking that they were going to get a penalty, and they didn't get one. That was like late in the third or something like that. Yeah. So it was kind of like, okay, well, what are we doing here?
Well, true, but I mean, you have to keep in mind this is the second game in a row where they've blown a lead late. This is something you have to do. Is they're great at coming from behind and winning games, but they really seem to struggle when they get a lead. You have to learn to play with a lead because it's different than playing from behind.
Yeah,
and it's something that good teams know how to do.
Yeah,
so they have to learn it.
Yeah, it's for sure, because it certainly carried over into Utah. The Utah Hockey Club, formerly the Arizona Coyotes, 4-2 loss here at home. Back and forth a little bit in the second period. Again, these second periods, Steve, I don't know what's going on with that. Just seems like, we do pretty well in the first, but it was scoreless, and then you go into the second period, you think like, oh gosh, okay, Lost, we played good defense. We didn't do that. Back and forth, back and forth. We were on the seesaw. They come out, they score a game winner essentially in the second period, go up 3-2, and then a third period goal makes it 4-2. This one was just a flat game. I think probably the Boston loss, because I think they felt maybe cheated. Okay, you come around, maybe you're home, you're thinking, like, okay, you're going to get a little bit fired up. It's a late evening game. The Eagles had just won, I think, prior against the Panthers, and they even turned in a kind of a crappy effort, but still won the game. Here, it doesn't work out. Thoughts here on this one?
This game was just a fart. We threw this out. I watched 2 periods of it, and I was like, meh. This is the clunker I was talking about. It's just not, just chuck it.
Yeah, and that happens that time. Sometimes it happens along those lines.
You're playing a team that doesn't even have a name. How do you get up for that? You know what I mean?
Hard to. Really hard to, yeah. It's kind of like, they're probably going to be either called the Yeti or some other stupid name, and it's like, you just don't know.
They're not. They're the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah. For this year
Make
only.
up your mind.
Yeah.
Make up your mind. Come on.
It's like you should have had that ready to go. You had the whole franchise ready to go, but you didn't have the name. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So just, what?
Stupid.
But a couple nights later, you're in Columbus, and you put the hammer down. I think finally they were able to, kind of right the ship a little bit after being a little leaky, always coming from behind, always trying. They were dominant in this game, very dominant. I was watching a little bit of the highlights, and they were on the front foot of the forecheck. They were giving Columbus all kinds of fits. It was really 5-1, really with like kind of garbage goals, at the end by Columbus to make it closer than it seemed. But it was really kind of like a 5-1 score. 5-3 was the final. Big turnaround game for this team, I think, for the Flyers, right, Steve? Yeah.
Yeah, well, they got a 3-0 lead, and then Columbus started coming on a little bit, made it 3-1, but they responded immediately to make it 4-1 to kind of be like, no, this ain't happening again. So but Columbus is also a team below them in the standings, so those are the games you got to win. But they played well with a lead. They gave up a couple in garbage time, but something to build on. You had a lead. You played with it. You came out of it. That worked.
Yeah, exactly. Huge game. Then you come home against Detroit, who I think is going to be in rebuild hell for the rest of their entire existence after going through 25 years consecutive of going to the playoffs. Boy, they could not buy a break. We come in there, and I think it was probably the best game of the year
I wouldn't say that.
Well, maybe it was a little tight
Lutton
checking.
had his best game of the year.
That's true. That's very true. Scoring all 4 goals for the Flyers. Really an amazing turnaround effort by Scotty Lawton, who we've been we were a little worried about him.
He was my dud last episode.
Oh, yeah. We were kind of like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden he scores 4. Really amazing, including a shorty. And then 2 empty netters. So I guess you could call it like 2 of the garbage goals were like, okay, you get the hat trick and then you add on top of it. But what a game by Scott Lawton. Huge game by him. It shall
henceforth be known as the Scott Lawton game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we have to say about it.
All I have to say about that. Detroit's, boy, they're bad. They are a bad team. Then
that's another one. I don't know. Because last year you thought they just missed the playoffs. You figured they pick up Tarasenko's veteran cup-winning leadership. You think, all right, they're gonna take a step. They're gonna be competitive, and it's just not there.
Yeah.
And as we talked about, I think when we were doing a preview last week, their goaltending hasn't been bad. They just can't score.
Yeah, and that's been the problem. And it really is shocking to see like a Detroit Red Wings team. Because, when we were growing up, you see Yzerman and Fedorov and all those guys, they were just scoring goals at will.
Mm-hmm.
And, now it's like they're barely generating any offense. It's really amazing to see this Detroit Red Wings team. But, yeah, they're kind of like if they're careful, they're going to be like Buffalo Junior. I mean, seriously, they're not going to make this is going to be awful.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Some Red Wings fans are very upset with you. Lumping them in with Buffalo. Damn.
Yeah, seriously. But then to close out the 2 weeks, Steve, you go up to Minnesota, and unlike the 7-5 Wild shootout that was happening, this one was not a shootout. This one was pretty much a beatdown by Minnesota, showing why they're one of the top teams in the league. 4-1 final by the Wild. Kaprizov, of course, scoring twice. We really weren't in this game, even though the shots were tied between the two, 22 shots on goal for both sides.
Well, now hold on a second. If you're gonna say 2 of Scott Lawton's goals in the Detroit game were garbage, Minnesota had 2 empty netters here too. So
that's very true.
Be fair.
Yeah, very true.
But you're right. That game, what was our total shot count for the game?
22.
22.
Yeah. I mean, tremendous defense, really. They're amazing. 0 for 3 for the Flyers on the power play as well. They are proving why they're one of the top teams in the West. Mm-hmm. They're just a good defensive team. And then, I mean, Kaprizov.
They shut you down.
They shut you down. And Kirill Kaprizov with 2 goals. He has 20.
That was his first goal. The second one was an empty net, so garbage.
Yeah.
First one was a heck of a shot.
Yeah.
Ersson was there to make the save, and he basically put it like where Ersson has no body.
Just incredible. Yeah. So after all of ththose games, here we are. We're above Hockey 500 still.
By one.
By one. 14, 13, and 4 with 32 points on the year. As we saw, we're just on the outside looking in of the wild card right now. That goals scored to goals allowed difference, Steve, just seems to be hovering around 13, minus 13, minus 14.
Well, no, it's been 10 for the last couple episodes, but now the gap has widened a little bit after this stretch, unfortunately. So we're up to 14. The power play has actually improved, believe it or not, since last episode. We were at 16% even in episode 5. As of December 14th, after the Minnesota game, we are at 16.67%. So it's actually went up a little bit.
Yeah, went up a little bit. Yeah,
victories. But the penalty kill has come down.
Yeah, it's been really bad.
We're down at 80.22. I don't know where that is relative. I think that's still above league average.
I would imagine so.
If I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
I could
pull that up. Yeah, I mean, and it's not like there was like a couple of instances where I was watching, them defend, and they are in the lanes that they are supposed to be blocking shots. The shot quality is better though. That's the thing. It's like they're just beating them just at a half step, and that's how the penalty kill is going down. But I mean, you give up 4. Yeah, you give up 4 against Florida.
That hurts.
That hurts a lot.
Yes. That hurts a lot. League average is 78.81, so we are still above
Okay,
league
so you're above
average
still. Yeah.
I doubt we're top 3 anymore. But Florida will do that to you.
Penalty kill as of right now, Flyers are 13th. So we were top 3, now we're top 15. So yeah, that's hurt, but that's what happens again when you go up against quality opponents. And boy, when you take dumb penalties, you take stupid penalties, they will kill you on the power play. And that's exactly what Florida, I think, taught the Flyers. Don't take any dumb penalties. If you're going to take any, take them, but don't be dumb. Don't continually do it. That's the problem.
And that brings us to what we can close out topic 1 or period 1 with.
No.
The TK controversy.
Let's
lost their damn minds. Because the Florida game played into that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Konechny, setting the stage, Konechny takes a penalty interference against Charlie McAvoy, who, by the way, Charlie McAvoy,
piece of crap.
That name, like it gives you that New England prep school prick kind of vibes. And with a punchable face.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I don't like McAvoy.
Yeah.
But so Konechny takes a dumb penalty against McAvoy, interference. He goes to the penalty box, but he gets pulled out by the concussion spotters. To get tested because the shift previous to that, McAvoy had hit him up high in front of the net. And so they wanted to check him for head injury. So he did not serve the penalty. I believe they killed that penalty off, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But he came back late in the third period, but stayed on the bench in a tie game and then was on the bench in overtime, did not see the ice. And people lost their minds because, TK's your best player. You got to put him out there. The game in overtime.
What's going on out there?
Torch is an idiot because you benched him. Okay, first off,
oh boy,
this is not a season where you, at all costs, put your best lineup out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are learning. We are trying to build something.
Mm-hmm.
We are not winning a Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah.
So there is no reason to throw Konechny out there in overtime when he needs to learn something.
Yeah.
And that learning something is the game before, actually in between the Florida game and the Boston game. Torts had his practice press conference on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked about the Farabee thing, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna ding him too much because he's sticking up for a teammate there. But sometimes you got to learn. If you have a grudge, you just got to put it off, depending on the game circumstance. Okay?
Yeah.
Think about things." Mm-hmm. TK goes out the very next shift after getting hit by McAvoy, who again prick, but you know, pick your spots.
Yeah.
It was, and I watched it. McAvoy had dumped the puck a good 2 seconds before Konechny threw him into the wall.
Yeah.
It was a legit penalty.
Yeah.
It was not, this is not one of the dives that Torts was referring to in his press conference.
Yeah.
Konechny legitimately interfered with him.
Yeah.
And deservedly got a penalty for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is in direct contravention to Torts' do not take selfish, dumb, retaliatory penalties. Because this is the kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
And so just like Lawton, who, was it the Colorado game? Like pregame, do not throw it to the middle of the ice. In his first shift, he goes out and throws it to the middle of the ice.
Right.
So he sits for the first period.
For at least the majority of the first. Yeah.
That's exactly. So Konechny is not above the law.
Yeah.
You can get away with certain things kind of defensively, but when your coach tells you, do not take retaliatory penalties, we need to keep our heads, and you go out and you take a retaliatory penalty,
guess what?
You deserve to sit.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I have no issues with it. And
Same.
So anybody who's like, oh, these guys must be, because they're new to our podcast. These guys must be Torts apologists. I do not agree with everything Torts does. Yeah. I did not like at all how he handled the Couturier thing last year.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is something I think he was in the right. It was a message that had been sent to the players. Konechny disregarded it.
Yeah.
And so that was the price. And the team sees, if our best player is out because of this and costs us a victory.
Yeah.
If that's how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to be smarter.
Yeah. Maybe there's a learning experience that has to be happening there. Oh, you never know. There's always something going on with Torts, and I agree with you, Steve. There are things that's like, okay, I don't know why he's doing X or Y. But there's always a method to the madness out there. And again, this is a rebuilding year. This is a team that is very young. I think it's one of the youngest in the National Hockey League.
Oh, for sure.
So you need to learn how to play in the NHL, and you need to learn not to take stupid, dumb penalties. You have to be smart when you hit people, basically.
You're right. It's not just a message to Konechny.
Yeah, it's everybody.
I think Konechny gets it, but the young guys need to say, oh, even Konechny can get in trouble for this kind of thing.
Your Brinks, your Michkovs, your Forresters, all those guys, your Farabys, all those guys that need to learn all of this stuff and understand what it takes to be a pro. There are certain things you can do and certain things you can't do in the NHL, and that's, I think, a lesson that Torch is teaching. It may not always be popular in the city of Philadelphia, but it is what it is. He's the head coach for a reason, and yeah.
And they're not.
And they're not.
I smell like deep sea after my shower.
Really?
That's what the soap says. I don't know.
That's what it says? Okay.
That's what it says. Yeah. It's got an octopus on it.
Oh, nice. At least it's not a Kraken or anything like that.
No, that's on the deodorant.
And it's on the deodorant. Okay, nice.
Yes, but it says Kraken guard, so it's guarding against Kraken.
Nice. There you go. That's what we have to do. We have to guard against the Kraken. Absolutely.
Well, Dave Haxtell's not their coach anymore. So
yeah. I remember when that was going down, they were all like, yeah, we don't want him to be coach anymore. And we're like, wow, it's really that bad? Holy cow, you don't want him to be coach anymore. Good grief.
We know
exactly what happened. Yeah, exactly. We have an idea what happened.
I never forget when he went to Toronto and was like their defensive coach.
Oh, yeah. And they were awful.
And that was Tyson Barrie was in Toronto that year.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, Tyson Barrie's having like the worst year of his career. And I'm like, I wonder why.
Let's see what we can point to where it's happening. Period 2, Steve. Let's go on here with episode 6 and our studs and duds. One of my favorite things to do, call out who had a great couple of weeks and who needs to improve their play over the next couple of weeks.
Who needs to stop sucking?
Yeah, who needs to stop sucking? Steve, you're stud for the last 2 weeks of the Flyers. I will cede to you. What do you got?
I will go with Owen Tippett.
Look at that. Yeah.
He's raised himself out of the doghouse now.
Oh yeah.
Had a good couple of weeks, a couple goals. He's developed really good chemistry with Michkov, which is funny because Morgan Frost is just kind of left behind on that line.
Yeah.
It's Michkov and Tippett doing all the work, and Frost is like,
okay.
I'm here, there, somewhere,
something like
over
that.
there. Yeah. I'm nowhere to be found on the stat sheet when you guys. He's the only thing Frost is getting out of it is raising his plus minus. He's now up to -4. But Tippett has found his game again. He is scoring at a good pace. Like I said, working really well with Michkov. The chemistry seems there. He's actually hitting the net instead of missing it all the time.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can keep this up and reduce the dry spells.
Yeah.
And be more consistent with the scoring spells so that he can become the 35 or 40 goal scorer we think he can be.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe find him a center.
Yeah. Special shout out there to Michkov. He's doing very, very well. 27 points in 29 games, so just under a point per game for the young rookie. Doing very well there.
But we don't block our teammates' shots.
I know.
From going in the net.
Yeah, exactly. I will give mine to Owen Tippett. It's hard to find one for me, but Owen Tippett, or not Owen Tippett, I'm sorry.
That was mine.
That was
Stop
yours.
Stealing.
What am I stealing? Why am I stealing yours? Scott
head
Lawton.
code is worse than you thought.
Yeah, oh my God, I can't think. Scott Lawton. Now, okay, we were really concerned. We might still be concerned over Scott Lawton, to be perfectly honest, but when you score 4 goals in any National Hockey League game, that is very, very special. And
first since...
Oh, gosh. It wasn't Leclerc, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Leclerc. Leclerc at 4. That's right.
Leclerc at 4 against the Montreal Canadiens.
Look at that. So
a long time ago.
Huge shot. And there were also, I remember there was a young up and coming forward named Yuri Dopita. I think that also scored 4. Unfortunately, it was the only 4 goals of his entire career, if I remember right.
No, I think he had 1 or 2 more.
Okay.
But the thing I remember most about that game is he scored, I think it was the 4th goal.
Yeah.
And he just kind of was like,
it was like, I've been here before.
Oh, okay.
I was like, no, you haven't been here before, pal.
Yeah.
It's like, good Lord. So, yeah, special shout-out, though, to Scott Lawton for picking it up. And, he's, as long as he continues to raise his game, I think that's probably the biggest thing. He has a +4. Obviously, with those 4 goals, you're going to get pretty good.
Right.
So, slow but steady with him. And I think that's the best part about it.
The most important thing for him is to get back to being good on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
And that was a step in the right direction to the shorthanded goal. I mean, we don't need him scoring shorthanded goals all the time, but we need him on the penalty to kill to be dynamic and to force the play.
Absolutely.
Let's hope this is getting him back to that.
Now, if we go to our duds, I'll lead off with this one.
Okay.
This guy is 7th in points right now on the team. You're thinking like, okay, that's pretty good. Well, the points he only has 13 points in 28 games. Bobby Brink, I think he just needs to step up his game a little bit. -5 over the last 5 games, only has 1 assist against Columbus. I'd like to see this guy step up a little bit more. 2nd-round pick of the Flyers back in 2019. He's had an okay career, I would say. 40 points in his career over 95 games. So a little less than half a point per game. I think there's something more to him in this, Steve. I don't know what you think about Brink's game. I just would like to see him do a lot more. I think he's a defensive-minded forward.
No, he's not a defensive-minded.
So, okay. So
it's his problem with him.
But there you go. Then I'd like to see him step up his game then in this regard. I'd like to see him shoot a little bit more and, see if we can put the puck in the net a little bit more.
When he's engaged, he can be pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
He's can skate fairly well when he's, again, engaged and when he's active, but there's too many times where I just feel like he's not winning board battles.
Yeah.
And you're right. He can just kind of disappear.
Yeah, and he shouldn't. I mean, it's like,
no.
And you have to wonder, like, what's going on there with him a little bit. So something that I would just want to just keep going and push him a little bit. -5 over the last 5 games is not good enough, especially for an offensive-minded player. You got to go out there, and I would love to see him do a little bit more on the forecheck. Win those puck battles along the boards, get some helpers. That's the fastest way you get points. Get some helpers, get some assists, get something going in the offensive zone.
Absolutely.
Things like that, yeah.
And he is tied with Zamula for worst plus-minus on the team.
Yeah, you got to step it up here a little bit. Yeah, big time. You, Steve, for your dud of the last 2 weeks.
So mine, sorry to say, I think he was your stud.
He was.
Episodes ago. Emil Andre.
I don't want to say.
Came out like gangbusters when they called him up, but recently his play has slipped, and it resulted in Torts sitting him for the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he did take a big bump in the Columbus game, right?
Okay, yeah.
From Olivier. Yeah, it was Olivier who hit him, and then Sealer fought him for that.
Yeah.
So he may also, not be completely healthy. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
But he was very noticeable the first few games he came up, had been a very steady presence, has a great exit pass ability on the breakout. But the last few games that I've seen him playing in, he just wasn't as noticeable to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a young guy, so it's consistency. It's not necessarily a knock that you're named a dud on the Men in Orange and Black podcast, but it's just a reminder. We're watching. You need to get a little kick in the pants. Hopefully, he'll be back in the lineup soon, and this stretch of games where he's sitting will do him good. Watch a little bit.
Heal up and whatnot. Yeah.
I was at the rookie game. Against the Rangers the day they beat them in overtime.
Okay.
The one Michkov did not play in, of course.
No, naturally.
Naturally. He got, it was 3-on-3. The puck squirted out to him up high in the slot, and he didn't shoot right away. I'm like, what are you doing? And that's when he spotted Luchenko on the side of the net and passed it across for a slam dunk. I'm like, oh, that's what you were doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he's got great vision, great passing ability, but we need to see more of it consistently.
No doubt. No doubt.
And he needs to learn to protect himself too.
Yeah.
He's a small guy, and I like that he's chippy. He doesn't back down, but he puts himself in bad positions being on the shorter side.
Oh yeah.
He needs to learn from Kimmo Timonen. I don't remember Kimmo Timonen was a small guy.
Yeah, he was.
He wasn't taking big hits.
No.
Like you didn't see him ever get slammed like Andre does.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Timonen was very good at protecting himself from those types of hits. I think Andre needs to learn that.
That's a good comparison, I think, really for Andre to take. It's really just watch Kimmo in his career, really just seeing like how he adapted to the NHL at such a small size. You're right, because I think Timonen was like 5'9", same size as Andre. Andre's 5'9", so you got some similarities there. So yeah, that would be a great one for him to watch for sure. So then moving on, we got the draft pick watch. And Steve, our lottery pick right now, we're in 13.
Yeah, if nothing changed in the lottery, we would be at 13.
Not too bad.
I don't think we could move up to 1 from 13.
Right.
So even if we won the lottery, I think we could only move
maybe a spot or
maximum
two?
of 10. I think it's maximum 10 spots you can move up, so we could probably move up to 3.
3.
Which wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, but I'm not going to lie. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, especially this draft. But, yeah, so if nothing changed, we would be 13. The Avalanche are still technically in the lottery.
Wow.
But if nothing changed, would be 16. So that pick would convey because that is only top 10 protected.
Yeah.
I would love to see it move up to like 17 where it's not even in the lottery.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
They are currently tied. Yeah, they are currently tied with the Stars right now for 3rd in the Central. But then it's like there's a gap between them and second place Minnesota. Minnesota's 44 points. Dallas and Colorado right now is 36 as of the time of this recording. So about 8-point gap. But to your point, they get into that 3rd spot. They get ahead of Dallas. All of a sudden, it's like they've got legit. They're in the playoffs. That kind of the top 3 make it in the playoffs from each division. Yeah. So that's what we're hoping for, really. That's where Edmonton is now. Edmonton has risen from the ashes, and they're proving once again why they're one of the top teams in the league. Of course, they're now 3rd in the Pacific, and their pick would be 24th. Is that right?
24th, yes. So that's top 12 protected. So we're very clear there. Edmonton, you don't need to move up anymore.
Yeah. Go for that division while you're at it. That kind of a deal. We'd be perfectly fine with that. So
stay in 3rd in the division. That's perfectly fine.
That'd be perfectly
that is
fine.
Acceptable to us. So this is I did this after Saturday's games. There might be changes since then, but as of last Saturday's games, all 3 picks would convey. So that's good.
That's good.
We're in good shape.
Absolutely. All right, 3rd period action. Here we go, men in orange and black. Steve, as we look ahead to the next 2 games, or next 2 weeks, I should say, we got a little bit of a break here. We got a little bit of the Christmas break. Happy early Christmas, by the way, to you and your family out there. Yeah, thank you. You got basically 5 games in 14 days because of the Christmas holiday. It's going to start to pick up after Christmas, though, as we look ahead. But for the 5 games in the 14 days, when we'll review, when episode, I think it's 7, that'll come out in the early part of next year, we're going to look at Detroit. They're going to be at Detroit to start. It's at Detroit, so beat them 4-1.
Yeah, we beat them 4-1. Well, Scott Lawton beat them 4-1.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a goaltending problem, though. Talbot was one of the main reasons no one other than Scott Lawton scored in that game. And he has re-aggravated an injury.
Oh, jeez.
Lower body injury. And Alex Lyon, one of their other goalies, was also injured recently. So they are playing on fumes at the goaltender position.
Yeah.
So this is a game we got to get 2 points.
Opportunity.
Gotta get them.
Yeah, got to get them there. The next night, the next night, it comes the Los Angeles Kings, and the Kings are having a whale of a season. Second in the Pacific Division, 18-9-3, 75 goals against. Thinking, wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's damn good. That's second in the entire league in giving up against goals.
They're doing it without Drew Doughty.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Which is impressive.
That's very impressive indeed. Kopitar, all-world Andres Kopitar, I believe that's his name.
Anjay,
thank you very much for that. Thoughts on him, Steve?
Well, 34 points plus 14, leading the team. Yeah, he'll be a Hall of Famer one day.
Oh yeah, yeah. Him and Drew Doughty, no doubt. Yeah.
Now, but they are winning games. Their goals for is only 92. That's 17th.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of lower half on offense. So
but
they're winning games defensively.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a 2-1.
It's going to be a slugfest. Yeah. Got to get ready for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they've won 4 out of their last 5.
Yeah. They are trying to keep pace with those stupid Vegas Golden Knights up there in the Pacific Division. Maybe that's what they should be called, the stupid Vegas Golden Knights going forward. I don't know.
They are the Vegas Cap Dodgers.
Yeah, exactly. Then the final home game of December against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who you beat earlier.
Before Disney on Ice.
Exactly, before Disney on Ice. So it's 7 o'clock, last home game of December, last home game of the calendar year of 2024, Steve. Columbus. You got to watch out for Werenski, of course, but, they've also been a little bit on the skid, losing 4 of their last 5.
Yeah.
So they're not doing too hot. Opportunity again for us to take 2 points. Winnable game there, I would think, especially coming off a tough Kings game. So
yeah, before Christmas, you should be able to get 4 out of 6.
Yeah,
minimum.
I would think.
You have to.
Yeah,
I think Columbus is reeling now.
Yeah,
and they're ripe for the opportunity. So you got to take advantage of it.
No doubt. And then a couple days after Columbus, you then go on the extended long road trip. It kicks off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Boo. The hated Pittsburgh Penguins, who have had a very, very difficult season as of yet, even though Kyle Dubas was brought in to shore up the defense. Ha.
Kyle Dubas and defense do not belong in the same sentence.
Exactly. And it shows. 119 goals against for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Rumor is that Crosby wants out. Wants to be traded somewhere to win another Stanley Cup. What? I don't know who would want him. That's my question.
Plenty of people would want him, but what he, I believe, he's got to have a no.
There's got to be a no trade, no movement.
So
clause.
he would have to accept.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it would take to get him.
Yeah.
I heard some boobs up in Toronto.
Thinking that they could get it? Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, Toronto should get him. And then the trade packages, they were like, no. What are you, stupid?
Yeah, they're not going to do that. Yeah.
Why the hell would Pittsburgh do that?
Yeah, Dubas is not that dumb.
No.
That kind of a deal.
No, but Crosby is 30 points in 32 games.
Okay. Not the same Sidney Crosby as before.
No, -6. Malkin's -14. Erik Karlsson, that big defensive acquisition by Kyle Dubas, -9.
-9.
And two goals. He is far removed from that 100-point season he had in San Jose a couple years ago.
Well, that trade blew up in their face. That's fantastic. That was just unbelievable there.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
I really don't. So that's long Christmas break.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Yeah, exactly. Sleep with one eye open, bird.
Yeah, that's right. So Kevin Hayes, by the way, -11.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was with Pittsburgh.
There.
Yeah, -11. My God.
Yeah.
So then after that, you got a nice 4-day break, Christmas break, and then you face off against Quitter Gauthier and the Anaheim Ducks, 4 o'clock, Saturday the 28th, to kind of kickstart a little bit of the extended road trip. So Anaheim Ducks, the West Coast swing. You see Elbow Trouba, you see Radko Gudas, a former Flyer. You see
Radko, I'm cool with. I'm cool with
Gudas too. Yeah, but it'll be interesting. You got Gauthier, the Quitter. First game against the team that he basically ghosted, like a little punk-ass kid. You don't ghost people. They though have lost a pretty huge forward though, right, Steve? Zegras.
Yeah, Trevor Zegras is out with a torn meniscus. So he's looking at a minimum of 6 weeks. He did have successful surgery.
Yeah.
But the Flyers will avoid him.
And they can't.
I just want to say this because I know there's all these people out there in Flyerland who are like, oh, the Flyers should trade for Zegras. I don't see he's to me like a flash type of guy.
Yeah. He will get you like it would be a great Stanley Cup, like if you're going for a cup run and you need that forward to kind of get you that instant offense, he would probably fit that bill, I would think.
Yeah, but he's not a one center.
No.
Yeah,
maybe
a truly
two.
Great 1C.
Yeah.
Goes to the hard areas.
Yeah.
And retrieves pucks and gets dirty.
And that's not him.
I mean, and we talk crap about Sidney Crosby, but you cannot say Sidney Crosby does not go in the corners and muck it out and dig those pucks out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tenacious.
And I don't view, and maybe it's just because I don't watch Anaheim games because, I don't give a shit about the Ducks.
Yeah.
I don't watch Zegras. I don't know, but he just strikes me as the type who's flash in the pan and not, willing to grind it out.
Yeah.
So no. look elsewhere.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
yes, Quitter Gauthier, who, by the way, let's stat him up.
Oh,
here.
let's stat him up here real fast. How's he doing?
4 goals. It took him forever to get the first one.
Oh God.
8 assists.
Okay.
12 points, -4.
Ooh.
And Anaheim, as a team, has only scored 70 goals for, which is 31st in the league. So they are truly struggling.
Yeah, they are really, really struggling.
Their goaltending is actually not bad. I don't know that Lucas Dostai or something, Dostal. I don't know. 920 save percentage, 269.
That's not bad.
GAA. John Gibson, 906, 3 GAA. That's not terrible.
That's not terrible, but that's not John
better
Gibson
than all our
numbers,
goalie
though.
numbers.
Yeah.
No, it's not. So this is another one where
so all that talk
they
about
can't score. So you gotta
all that talk about Cutter Gauthier, right? He's only responsible for 5% of the Anaheim goal scores. I mean, I cannot wait until we review that game. That's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, they'll make the return trip. I think it's the middle of July or middle of January.
Yeah, July.
Yeah, middle of July. I'll tell you, Steve, this head cold. It's not good. But no, middle of July or middle of January. Gosh darn it. Middle of January is what Matt's trying to say.
I think, I believe
when he comes, to Wells Fargo. So we'll give him a proper
that
booing.
will be a joyous day.
Yes. That'll be a proper booing.
Correct.
Not in July. If you go in July, you could go there if you want, but no one will show up. That kind of a deal. So, anywho, before I take any prescription medication and knock out the rest of this head cold, let's end this episode of Men in Orange and Black for now before I start to lose my mind. Mercifully.
Too late.
Yeah, too late for that. Yeah. We want to wish all of you out there a very Merry Christmas. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Until then, guys and gals, let's go Flyers.